Welcome back to our What is an FDD series, where we're going to go through all 23 items of a franchise disclosure document. Today, we're spending some time going through items 6 through 10, and we're going to learn more about what are the expectations, what are some of the fees, and whether or not the franchisor can help you with financing the purchase of your franchise. My name is Joe Souza. I'm a partner here at Friendship Consultants, where we help individuals look for, vet, and eventually invest in purpose-driven franchises. If you have not watched the other 3 videos of this series, I'm going through all the 23 items in 4 video series. So make sure you check the other videos, also that you give me a thumbs up and comments. That helps a lot. And let's get to it. Item 6, other fees. The best way to look at the item 6 is as a menu of potential fees. It's important for you to know that not all fees listed under the item 6 will actually apply to every franchisee. So you may see things like renewal fees, or late payment fees, or technology fees, or fees that are not usually ongoing. They will be always listed under the item 6. So a good thing to do during your research process and as you're talking with that franchise development person is, hey, here under the item 6, I see these fees. Which one of these are actually common that franchisees already in your brand have to pay constantly, and which ones are the fee that most don't ever even pay? So that's a good question for you to ask that development person, and it's going to really help you understand under the item 6 which fees are actually going to be more ongoing and which ones are going to be maybe once every so often. Item 7, estimated initial investment. Now, the item 7 is one of the most viewed items in the franchise disclosure document, primarily because it will list the total expected investment. Things you're going to see under the item 7 are usually the initial franchise fee, any cost related to equipment, if you're purchasing into a brick and mortar franchise, so any cost related to the build out of that facility, and then any cost related to working capital. Now, you're also going to notice there is usually a range. So a franchisor may say that your low-end investment is going to be about $300,000 and your high-end investment is going to be about $700,000. So a great way to approach this is to reach out to that franchise development person and ask what most franchisees invested in, like what was their final number. And they usually be able to tell you, give or take, based on your location. And also when you talk to existing franchisees during your validation calls, that's a great question to ask. You can say, hey, I was looking under the item 7 and they have such a big gap between the low and the high end investment. Can you tell me a little bit more about, in your experience, how much was your final number? How much money you had to invest into this business to get it off the ground and then into that break-even phase? Item 8, restrictions on the source of products and services. Under the item 8, the franchisor will explain what you're required to buy and who you can buy it from. So these will be things such as technology, equipment, branding, anything related to marketing. And some franchisors are more flexible. So you're looking into a emerging brand. Sometimes they have a lot more flexibility. They allow you to actually shop local and buy it anywhere you want to buy. Other franchisors, usually more established franchisors with decades of experience, they have very specific vendors that you must buy, or specific vendors providing services that you must comply. So this is something very important if you like the idea of flexibility. Some franchisors are not going to give you that. You must purchase from specific vendors, where other franchisors will actually give you more flexibility. So a great question for you to ask that franchise development person is, what is the level of flexibility? What are the things that I must buy from the franchisor or from the franchisor's affiliates? And what are the things that I can purchase or search on my own? And you maybe use local vendors, or maybe use vendors that have even better pricing that is outside of what the franchisor recommend. Item 9, franchisees' obligations. Under item 9, you're usually going to see everything related to your obligations and the expectations that the franchisor is going to put on you. So things such as initial training, ongoing training, marketing of your business, being compliant with any licenses or insurances to run or properly run your business, marketing outside of your territory. Sometimes franchisors don't allow you to do that, so they want to make sure that you are obeying their requirements as far as marketing. So anything and everything related to the expectations and your obligations will be listed under the item 9. So this is an item that is very often overlooked, but I always mention to my clients that we want to spend a considerable amount of time looking over what are the requirements, because sometimes you're going to find that out later and you're going to like, oh, I didn't know I actually had to do this. Well, it was under the item 9. You just didn't pay attention to it. Item 10, financing. Now, this is a very straightforward item because it's going to explain if that franchisor offer any type of in-house financing, meaning that you don't have to go to an outside lender to be financed to purchase into that franchise. But in my experience, the vast majority of franchisors don't do that. They just don't want the liability of being a lender, and they just really outsource that. So a few franchises that I have represented in my professional career, we usually go out there and we make partnership with lenders, usually a lender that can provide SBA, because that's the most used way to obtain funding for businesses in the US. So we partner with a SBA lender, and we usually also partner with usually a broker that can help candidates look into options such as the ROBS program, which will actually allow people to tap into any investments or retirement plans to fund their business. So under item 10, people will see if that franchisor has any option outside of providing financing directly, or if they really just outsource that and connect candidates to potential lenders. And that's all for our video today, going through items 6 through 10 out of the 23 items in the FDD. Remember, this is a 4-video series. Please make sure to watch all the videos to have a full picture of all 23 items of a franchise disclosure document. Also, please subscribe to our channel. It really helps us, and I'll see you next time.